Preparing for the 2022 succession politics, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) has expressed frustration that there are appallingly low registration turnouts during the mass voter registration drive. This as leaders are calling upon the polling agency to up their ante. Uasin Gishu Woman Representative Gladys Boss-Sholei has said there ought to be enough and innovative measures that will help Kenyans register in large numbers. Sholei, who conducted roadshows to mobilize youth and other residents, said the next election will be determined by the youth, but majority of them had no ID cards. In the meantime, a cross-section of leaders from Kandara constituency are pleading with the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to consider extending timelines on registration of new voters, noting that many of the youth and those intended to change their votes from one area to another have been left behind.
Hapa mashinani ili vijana wetu wenye wanataka kubadilisha kula, mwenye ambaye ameolewa hapa na ametoka mbali akuwe na wakati mzuri wa kubadilisha hiyo kula.
Ni vizuri wawache kuambia watu waenda wachukulie kura Mombasa ama kule kwingine. Watu waletewe kura hapa nyumbani hapa na wawafikie mpaka mashinani. Hawa vijana wakiambiwa waenda wachukulie kura huko, hata hawana pesa, wengine hata hawana fare ya kwenda huko. Ni vizuri waletwe hapa nyumbani, kura ziletwe hapa ili waweze kuchukua kura. Hawaja wakataa.
We have to make sure and find ways that those young people can be able to vote. I know IEBC have tried very hard, but IEBC only has 3 kits per ward. That is not enough. By the time people go to the place to register, the IEBC group has moved. Let us persuade IEBC to find ways of going county by county. We can mop up all the registration kits, put them in 3 counties at a time, open every polling station for 7 days and move to the next one. We will be able to cover the place, but we cannot be able to do it if we simply have only 3 kits per ward. Haiwezekani. Najua watu wengi tumewauliza mbona hujasajili. Wakasema waliona watu wa IEBC wakiwa mahali, wakasema leo niko na kibarua sitaweza kwenda, kesho nitaenda. Lakini kesho yake IEBC washahama. So unless tufungue karibu kila polling station, watu hawataweza kusajili.
Definitely a worrying state of affairs with the ongoing voter registration exercise. And now to give us a perspective on the ongoing exercise, we are joined via video link by IEBC Commissioner Justice Nyang'aya. Good afternoon, Bwana Commissioner. Thank you so much for joining us here on News Desk. Karibu sana.
Good afternoon, Fred. How are you?
Fine, thank you. Bwana Commissioner, we have slightly more than 24 hours before the IEBC closes down the ongoing mass voter registration. The leaders are saying the numbers are poor. The Commission itself says it is worried about the poor numbers. Has there been any indication that the numbers are growing, probably to go with the Kenya's typical behavior of waiting till the last minute?
Yes, the numbers are growing, but they are not growing as much as we had expected, Fred. To date, we have just about 1.2 million people that have registered within the 30 days that we had into Kenyans. And you do realize that there is what is called the continuous voter registration that had been happening and is still happening and will be happening at our constituency offices. Now, this particular time, we decided that we will go to the people and we went to the wards. And this is what we have reaped. It is not very much. We wanted to hit over 4.5 million. 1.2 million that we have registered right now is really not enough.
Bwana Commissioner, of course, questions have been raised about the poor numbers and the kind of budget that the IEBC has been asking for. Part of this money was supposed to conduct the registration of, according to the targeted numbers, up to 6 million new voters. If at all the IEBC has only managed slightly less than 20%, don't you think that questions will be raised about this, the spending pattern of the IEBC in this particular exercise?
I really don't think it is about the question of spending. we had given our kids to the wards. And what we saw every day coming through was not very impressive. For instance, our people sit for hours to wait for voters to go, and we didn't see them. And so for me, what I am saying, Fred, is that are the youth saying something that we don't know, we don't understand? We need to sit back, relax, and listen to what the youth are saying. And then we can interrogate that and talk as a nation to try to find out exactly why young people, we were waiting for over 6.1 million to come to those wards. We went to them and we have got 1.2 million. What is it that the youth are saying that we are not listening? I think that's the question that we now need to ask ourselves.
Okay. Bwana Commissioner, the IEBC has also been blamed for probably failing on its part to conduct enough civic education, and probably that's why the numbers are low. Do you agree with that?
Yes, I do agree partly that we may not have given a lot of civic and voter education, but all these are predicated on the funding that we have. And if we don't have very much funding, we just make do with what we have. And I think we have done very well in terms of continuous voter education in our constituencies. We have our people in 290 constituencies. We have our people in 47 counties. We have our people even in the wards. We continue to speak to people. It may not be very much, but I think Kenyans do know that elections are coming next year, August 9th, 2022.
Yes.
And I think that is enough to even drive people to register. I have seen politicians talking to people that they need to vote. People can only vote when they have voters' cards.
Okay. The same politicians have been asking the IEBC to consider extending the period of mass voter registration. Of course, this would definitely have an implication on the budget as well. Do you think it's a consideration the IEBC can make at this point?
You can only make consideration when you have the money. But if we don't have the money, like we do not have it right now, we are not going to extend this exercise. We would like people to use today and tomorrow to register. In the event that we have some money in the future before the elections, that is a consideration that we can make when we come to that. But you really cannot make that before you get to the point where you can see that here is the budget.
Okay.
We don't have the budget, and we are not extending. But that does not mean that people are not going to register to vote. There is still continuous voter registration, but they need now to go to our constituencies. We will now not be coming to the wards.
Yes, and a final question, because yes, part of the problem has been blamed on the lack of ID cards, and that quite a number of ID cards are lying uncollected at various centers across the country, and probably the youth could take more time. Now, you've just said that the voter registration exercise will continue, but it will be slightly different from what exactly is happening now. Kindly expound on that as we wrap up this session.
This particular exercise that we have been doing in the last 1 month is called the Enhanced Continuous Voter Registration. In other words, we go to the people. They don't come to us. That's why we went to the wards, so that it makes it easy for people to find the registration kits and registration clerks, so that they can register next to their houses or homes. Now, after this, people will go to our constituency offices. In other words, they will now come to us. This particular one, we were going to the people. So we are still around in our constituency offices of IEBC. So we would like to encourage people to still go and register to vote next year, but they have to go to our constituencies. Fred, this is what I mean.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Justice Nyang'aya, helping us understand more about the mass voter registration exercise that ends tomorrow. But he says, of course, you can still register, but this time you'll have to go to the IEBC at the constituency level. We've been talking to IEBC Commissioner Justice Nyang'aya on the ongoing